Hello friends, welcome to the farm on a sunny summer afternoon.
Today we're going to have a little chat about some of the joys and the challenges we've had since we bought the farm 4 years ago.
For those of you who are new to our channel, we're Don and Brenda Waardenburg. We're married 42 years. We have 3 adult children and a growing number of grandchildren.
And for most of our married life, we lived in a typical suburban neighborhood, and he worked in corporate America. So we go from living on a quarter-acre lot with houses all around to a 42-acre farm. Talk about a change of pace.
Well, when we bought the farm, we had certain expectations. First, we knew it was going to be a lot of work, and we were prepared for that, and we have a lot of energy. We also knew that we'd had to learn a lot.
Everything.
Everything. This was not our dream, and the only experience we had was suburban garden.
Yeah.
So we had a lot to learn. We were ready for that.
Yeah. And we were looking forward to it. We're very excited about it.
Yeah. But we're going to share some of the things that we were not expecting, some of the challenges first. The first challenge
involves the house. We have a 180-year-old farmhouse that has had several additions put on the end, but the main part of the house is 180 years old.
And we knew that it was going to have floors that creaked and weren't level, and there would be some odd things, and we knew just by touring the house it didn't have any closets, and it's certainly not built like a suburban house.
Which for me was a thrill, because I've always wanted to live in an old house, so I was ready for all that. To me, that's just charm.
Yeah, but we ran into a couple unexpected things. The first were the chimneys, and we'll show you the picture here of what the farmhouse looked like. There was a chimney on either side of the original farmhouse. So today we've got some help because we have 2 chimneys in the attic. And the interesting thing about these chimneys is that during the renovation, they took out the chimney on the first floor, they took out the chimney on the second floor, but believe it or not, the chimney is resting on the joist of the attic. So I can't imagine how much weight, 800,000 pounds of weight sitting on the floor. So we're taking the bricks down one by one to work in the attic here. We sure were happy when all those bricks were down because the chimney was in the attic, and if it would have fallen, it would have fallen right through our bedroom.
So that was a big relief. And I recycled all those bricks. They're really kind of charming bricks, though. They're around the chicken coop, around some gardens, around the tunnel. I have them in all kinds of cute places now.
We've done a pretty good job in recycling all the materials.
Pretty much everything.
Yeah. So 180-year-old bricks. It's good.
Yeah.
So the next challenge, we knew in an old farmhouse, the house did not have a radon system, so we knew that we were going to have to install a radon system and expected radon. But
and we got into the root cellar, and I was very excited to have a root cellar. That was just like a super thrill. And we right away got in there and cleaned it out, started putting shelving in, getting it ready to use. And then we thought, we should probably see how high the radon really is down here.
Yeah. So it turns out all the radon's heavier than air. So we knew it would be in the basement, but it flowed down to the lowest level right in the root cellar. So it was actually 50 times greater than what the action point is for radon. So we not only had to put a radon system in our basement, we had to do a custom system and ventilation system in the root cellar.
And that was quite a challenge for him to figure out and actually do. We have a whole video about it. It was a doozy of a project. But this coming fall, I will be able to use my root cellar. It will be fully functioning, low radon, low temperatures, ready to go. So I'm excited. So it was an unexpected challenge, but we got through it.
But the remedy was a good thing. We ended up with temperature controls for our root cellar as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it ended up being a really good thing.
Yeah.
And even with all those challenges, I wouldn't give up this old house for anything.
Yeah. So with those out of the way, all the projects are done, right?
No. We actually still probably have one big challenge ahead of us. There is a bathroom upstairs that probably is going to have to be gutted down to the bare studs
Yeah.
and redone. And I'm not sure what all we'll find, so that might be a future video.
We keep saying that's a winter project, and then it gets put off to another winter.
It's going to be next winter.
Okay.
We'll get to it.
The second challenge has to do with protecting our produce in the market garden and the high tunnel.
And I knew from gardening before that there's diseases, insects, things can happen, but it's been to a much greater scale here, and I've learned a lot more things that can go wrong. Number one's the weather. I mean, hot, cold, too much rain, too little rain. But the biggest thing is like having a late frost. In the very first year I learned that, tomatoes were in, and it was after May 15th, which is supposed to be safe, but we had a polar vortex.
Yeah.
So I'll show you what happens to tomatoes when there's a polar vortex. So besides the weather, there's animals. And in our suburban neighborhood, we had some groundhogs, but nothing like we have here on the farm. There's a plethora of groundhogs.
Yeah, I think the scale that you have, the large number of products attract not only the animals, but insects and that's a whole different level than what we experienced in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and so besides all the groundhogs, rabbits, skunks, and deer, which luckily have not gotten in, there's the insects. There are a ton of insects that want to eat our food. So I've learned organic ways to do that because we are gardening organically, and I've learned ways to deal with that. A lot of times it's just covering the crop so the insects can't get in there, or there's some organic measures you can take. So, but insects not only want to eat your food, they carry disease. And I knew about a few of them, but I didn't know about mosaic virus. Aphids carry mosaic virus, and this year I learned about that. So it does feel sometimes like gardening is a battle, which it is, against the bugs, the insects, whatever, but it's worth it. It's rewarding when you get the food, but it has definitely been a lot bigger challenge than I expected.
And you need to check your produce and your trees every day because things can change just like that.
Really fast.
Yeah.
So
Prevention is better than trying to eliminate them once they happen.
Yeah, we've learned a lot.
The third unexpected challenge has to do with protecting the welfare of our animals. We have cattle and chicken and also bees.
And the chickens, I mean, there's a few things that you can do that are easy, feeding, watering up stuff, but there are things that can go wrong with chickens, and I've had to learn how to care for them. And I did have a mentor walking me through it, different things I can do and not do, but even in the best of circumstances, chickens sometimes get sick. And there's some things you can do to keep them alive, and sometimes nothing can be done.
Even little chicks right out of the gate.
Even little chicks can get something called pasty butt, where the poo gets pasted on their butt and they can't go and they can die.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a care regimen you have to do for the chicks and the chickens.
We've even had chickens that had congestive heart failure.
Yeah, I learned about that one. Her belly was all puffy and full, and there's nothing you can do at that point. She was filling with fluid and she did pass away. But sometimes chickens just drop. I mean, there's been 2 times where they're completely healthy. I come out in the morning and they're laying there dead.
Yeah.
And that's hard. I mean, they're my girls, you know? But it's part of living on a farm. We do the best we can, and we have kept them safe from predators. We have many safety measures in place, and we have raccoons, coyote, fox, hawk. There's a lot of things that want to eat our chickens.
We actually have 3 levels of protection. There's a fence around the yard where they go out, and there's also trees in there so the hawks don't get a free swoop. And then there's an enclosed run area that has hardware wire not only from the ground all the way up to the eave, but it also goes out, projects out 18 inches. So if an animal were to try to dig under the wall and come up, it hits the hardware wire. And then finally, the chickens at night, they're up in their roost room, and there's an automatic door that protects them, so they're behind wooden walls. So we've been very fortunate so far.
At night, our chickens are locked up like Fort Knox.
Yeah.
So we've been very fortunate there.
Yeah.
Now the other animal, the cattle.
Yeah. The cattle, great responsibility for them. You know, they have those big brown eyes, and you get to know them a little more than maybe what you want to.
Well, and when we
But-
first got them, everybody said, now they're beef cattle.
Yeah.
So you're going to be saying goodbye to them at some point. Everybody said, don't name them. Well, we have grandchildren. You have to name the animals.
Yeah.
And the first two we got were Rosie and Robbie. And if you aren't familiar with Peppa Pig, a little cartoon, that was the names our granddaughter put in, Rosie and Robbie, Rabbit in the cartoon.
We had a little game, and they got to
Put
pick, and
names
we
in a
drew the
hat.
names.
Those are the names we drew. So our first cattle were Rosie and Robbie.
Yeah.
And Robbie, we did have to say goodbye to him, and he's gone.
Yeah.
But Rosie, we decided to keep. And we thought it would be cool to have her give us a calf every year. So we sent her down the street to spend some time with the bull, and she got pregnant.
Yep.
And we watched and waited for that day. We were so excited to have a calf. And all of a sudden I saw the signs starting to happen in labor. And we contacted the farmer that was working with us and walking through it. And he was with us every step of the way that day. And then it took a turn.
Yeah. We had a difficult birth. The calf showed with the hoof first, and it turns out that he was, upside down?
Yeah, it was the
and
back
breech.
hoof coming out instead of the front.
Yeah, it's
So-
supposed to come like they're diving, going whatever. So when he saw that, he knew we were going to have a difficult breech. So he had to get, you know, the equipment and chains, and we were going to have to assist in the birth. So we did help out. We were able to deliver. Unfortunately, the bull calf was stillborn and didn't make it. So that was crushing to us because he was a cute little bull calf with a white face, just like the mama, and that's what we had hoped for. And to see the mama with the dead calf was tough, and she didn't handle it.
She
well,
cried for 2 days.
Yeah,
she
she
bawled for that
bawled.
baby. And she wasn't the only one crying on the farm.
Yeah,
I mean, in that case, we did everything right. We did everything we could do. It's just one of those fluke things.
yeah. So it just
happens.
underscores the responsibility and the feeling that you have being caring for all of these animals. So that was really unexpected. The weight that
And just being prepared for
Yeah.
the possibility of death on the farm, you know, with
Yeah.
the animals.
life and death with the animals on the farm.
We knew it would happen, but it was a bigger challenge than we expected.
Yeah.
So those were 3 of the unexpected challenges we faced. And even though they were challenges, we got through them and we learned a lot from them, and I am still extremely happy we made the decision to buy this farm. So now we can move on to some of the unexpected joys that we found on the farm.
I think the first one is just the sense of peace on a 42-acre farm, the space that we have. And compare that to in the suburban neighborhood, we had a 1/4-acre lot, and we're in pretty tight. Now with so much open space, we get to see a clear sunrise and a sunset. It's a dark sky at night. And we hear all of the birds and the animals, and like sometimes you can hear like there's a farmer cutting hay. I don't know if you hear it, but it's a very peaceful sound and space.
Mm-hmm.
There's also room to roam. We've got 4-wheelers and buggies, and you know, riding the property, and it just feels good to have open space.
And we do have some neighbors, you know, beside us and across from us, but behind us, it's all wide open. And even past our farm, then there's another farm that's 110 acres.
Yeah.
And there are actually quite a few farms in this general area. So it's just, I don't know, we only moved, how far did we move, a mile?
Yeah, maybe 2 miles as the crow flies.
But it's very different from a suburban neighborhood to rural America. It's just very different.
Yeah,
And I love it.
I do too.
We especially love this porch in the evenings. During the day, there's some cars, but there's probably more farm equipment and more bikes that go by than cars.
Yeah.
And at night, it's just silent. You hear the night noises. It's just, we love our evenings on the porch here. It's hard in the winter when it's too cold to sit out here.
So the second unexpected joy on the farm is the feeling that you get from being self-sustaining here. We produce our food and our power.
And we knew right off the bat we wanted to do that. In our very first video we ever did, we said we hope to grow most of our own food, and we hope to have solar power. And we've done that. But it was we didn't expect how wonderful it would feel. I mean, there's something so just exciting about sitting down to a plate and having everything you're eating being raised on the farm, the beef, the vegetables, the produce. It's just, now we don't have a milk cow.
Yeah.
But everything else we grow.
It not only tastes so good and better, but
It's delicious.
we know how it was grown or how it was raised, and you feel good about not having the chemicals and hormones, and it's just good quality food. It also feels good to produce food and sell to the neighbors in the community.
Yeah, we have a farm stand. We do sell to our community. So I've always liked feeding people, but this has taken it to a new level.
Yeah, they're very interested in how food is prepared, and it's really a joy to walk them back in the market garden and show them vegetables and the produce.
Well, I've also gotten a lot of joy out of preserving the food. I didn't really think about that coming into the farm. I knew I wanted to grow our food. I didn't go so far as to thinking how I was going to keep it. I knew I'd have some in the root cellar, but I have loved learning how to can, freeze dry, freeze, all the different ways to preserve food.
You might even be called a canning addict.
I'd say I qualify.
Yeah.
I love to can.
I can see the way you look when you go down in your larder and you have all the cans and you're arranging and looking. I can just see, it just feels good to have full larder.
It is extremely rewarding to walk down those steps to a stone basement with shelves and see all this food that you grew and you preserved to feed your family.
Yeah.
It's just, I love that room.
Yeah.
And I am a canning addict.
Yeah. So, in addition to growing the food, preserving the food, sustaining, we also produce our own energy here. We have solar panels, and we've had 2 phases where we added additional power. So we use a little more than 30, 32, 33 megawatts of power in a year's time, which in our market is worth $6,000, maybe to $6,500. But we produce close to 40 megawatts, so we are actually an energy producer. Now, I know some homesteads, they like to be off the grid, but for us, being on the grid and being a net producer for the local community makes us feel good. So that's kind of an unexpected joy.
It's also kind of fun when you get the electric bill and it's a negative number, meaning they owe us money.
Yeah, that's sustaining our lifestyle in a different way, the economics.
And there is a good feeling just knowing we have most of what we need to survive, you know?
Absolutely.
It's been an unexpected joy.
Finally, the last unexpected joy of the farm is our family, the amount of time that our family spends here on the farm. Now, we owned a little cottage in the woods before we bought the farm, and we thought that it would be our answer to more family time, but it was small and it was further away, but we had no idea of how much not only our children but our grandchildren would love being on the farm.
I remember when we first saw the farm, my daughter actually found it and said, here's a place, 42 acres you could buy and we can all live there. You know, it sounded like far-fetched to me, but it's happening. I mean, so far our daughter lives on the farm with her 2 of my grandkids, and the other ones will probably be moving to the farm too. But even now, we just see them. They're here a lot. Everybody loves coming to the farm. And it's not like they're coming to see us. We might be here, but they're spending time on the farm, riding their bikes in the driveway, picking stuff in the garden, running all over the field, playing in the woods. It's just a delightful time.
I never, in my wildest imagination, knew how much fun a 150-foot driveway would be with the turnaround. They keep all their bikes here and their hoverboards and rollerblades, and they have all kinds of buggies that drive around.
And when all the cousins come over to play, it's just delightful.
Yeah.
But there's nothing like just sitting in the kitchen, all of a sudden you hear those little voices.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a grandparent, you'll understand. That's
that's great.
To hear those little voices out there, it's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why we didn't expect that, but everybody feels at home here. And now our daughter moved here, and I think she's finding it very convenient to have some of the equipment that we have. And when they built their house, they're using the tractor and some of the other equipment we have. So it's been a good thing.
Well, it's just helpful in so many ways. If her husband travels, she has us here. If he travels, they're right there for me.
Yeah.
So there's just, I mean, just unexpected excitement and joy.
And
you
we're
know?
careful to give them their space, too.
Yeah, we aren't Raymond. Everybody loves Raymond's mother, just pops in all the time.
Yeah. So we guard that, you know, but it's amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, we just shared a little bit of the joys and the challenges, but overall, the challenges are far outweighed by the joys.
It's not even a close
No,
call.
no.
No, we haven't regretted it at all.
No, I would do it all over again. It was definitely a big shock to our way of being, and we've had to learn a ton, but it's been kind of fun learning all this.
When we have some visitors who come here, they will say, well, how are you finding it? Do you like it? And you can tell in their mind, you're thinking, like, there's no way I would be here. All this work and this whatever, I wouldn't enjoy this at all. And then on the other hand, we have people who are like, oh, this is my life dream. I would love to have a homestead and chickens and all the other things. So
we're living their dream.
Yeah, it's either one side or the other. There's very few that are in the middle.
But if you're out there thinking about doing homesteading and wondering, you know, is it going to be worth it? For us, without a doubt.
Yeah. But probably start little and learn a little more before you jump in with both feet like we did.
Yeah, we tend to jump into things fast.
And we also had the advantage that we did it a little later in life, and we were both able to dedicate pretty much full time to it to get it going, to jumpstart it.
But I don't know if I'd say wait till you retire and then do it. But everybody has to take their own path. But for us, homesteading has turned out to be the best thing we've ever done in our life.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks for watching as we shared some of our joys and challenges. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.